again, that is the position of hand should be in proper way. That is called mudra. Mudra gokarnakriti hastena mashamagna jalam pibiri. Same system for achamana during puja, homa and other rituals performed. And to take tirtha, we have to use our hand in proper way. Gokarnakriti hastena. So the top of our thumb we have to touch the bottom of middle finger. So this is called Gokarnakriti mudra. So this is the proper way of taking and we have to drink like this. Then with remaining tirtha we touch our ears, both the eyes. So that is the way of surrendering to that supreme being, and we express our love by touching our eyes with remaining tirtha. So especially again something else we found other day, that is to eat anything we have to use our hand, and while using our hand, especially eating any fruit or any food, when we touch our mouth, it is called as uchista. We have to wash our hand to touch anything else. That is the muddy or shuchi. We have to maintain. Every time we touch, whenever we touch our mouth, we have to wash our hand. That is the religious practice and also discipline of our life. And especially holding the tirtha like this, middle of our hand, that is called Agni Tirtha. So, Hastagro Brahma Tirthancha, Hastagre Deva Tirthakam, Hastaparshve Rishi Tirthancha, Tatparshve Pitra Tirthakam. There are 5 tirthas, auspicious spots in our hand. That is called tirtha. Tanmadhye Agni Tirthancha, Pancha Tirtham Udahutam. There are Pancha Tirtha. Tirtha means very auspicious or sacred place or spot. That is the reason we call as Tirtha Kshetra. Very sacred places like very old temple we call as Tirtha Kshetra, and also holy river like Ganga. Whenever we take bath, snana, it is called as Tirtha Snana. That is the reason we take whatever the water after having Abhisheka to the Lord, we receive with our own hand. That is the way of love, expressing our love actually, and also with the faith and devotion, we have to take tirtha like this. Then that is the water, holy water itself called as tirtha, and in our pipe, then our hand also called as very auspicious. That is the reason we have to keep clean and also remember the presence of Devatas. Hastagre Devatirthakam. During Sankalpa, we have practiced in our religious activities, any puja, at the beginning we do sankalpa by pouring the water through our fingers. We leave on a plate, and also at the end we do offer Krishna Arpana or Brahma Arpana, just again pouring the water on the plate through our fingers. Ishavasya Upanishad says, Tasmin Napo Mata Vishwadha water, that is representing our karma. That is the reason in the beginning, without water, no religious activities. Not only in our religion, other religious, also religion also we may see the same use of hot water, holy water. Anyway, so while taking Tirtha, it is called as very auspicious. So we have to take like this, then it will not become Uchista, not the litter. So then we don't need to wash our hands because we are taking Tirtha. There is another saying, Tirthodakancha Vannicha Namyata Shuddhimadhati. Tirtha, it is called as considered as very auspicious, sacred, the holy thing itself. So we don't need to wash our hand again because we are already pure by taking Tirtha, by touching Tirtha in our hand. And so taking the Tirtha in proper way, it is called again Brahma Tirtha. The bottom of our hand is called as Brahma Tirtha. It is always pure or holy, sacred. Whenever feet touch like this, and if you drink water in the holy Tirtha like this, still it is not considered as Chista. We don't need to wash our hand during Tirtha Prashana only. And again, by doing the japa, tarpana, and during the sankalpa, everything we have to pour the water through the top of our finger, where it is called as Devatirtha. Again, in other places we do use, like during Rishi Tarpana, or Brahmacharis and all the Tarpanas, or Vedika, priests, they do the Rishi Tarpana. It has to be this side of the hand is called as Rishi Tirtha, and during Pitta Tarpana, Shraddha, and Tila Tarpana, this is the way of doing it. So this is called as Pitra Tirtha. So now again, this is called as Brahma Tirtha. We have to hold our hand properly like this. Then it is called as Gokarnakati Hastena Mashamatana Jalam Pipet. Then what is the limit? So whatever the whole Urat has to sink on that water, that is the limit of taking Tirtha. That's all. Again, now how Tirtha called as pure or sacred or holy? The reason is normally the Tirtha has to be prepared like this. After performing the Abhisheka to Lord, especially Shaligrama Shila. So I will explain you about Shaligrama Shila and Murti and the importance of Abhisheka in upcoming classes. Whatever. So now the Tirtha, it is considered as most auspicious because we have offered that to Lord. Then Sharire Jarjari Bhute Yadigraste Kalevare Aushadam Janamitoyam Vaidyo Narayano Nariti. That is the famous sloka of that chanting. Whenever we take Tirtha, we have to chant or remember that sloka. That is just give the importance of Tirtha. Whatever we may having any doshas or any problems in our body, we may get rid of that Tirtha Prasana by taking that Tirtha into our body. So again, we may see somebody's house, we do puja properly and we have shaligrama, they know the way of doing puja. But most of the time to take Tirtha we have to visit temple only. And in day to day, like our routine, in our busy life, it is not possible to take Tirtha every day. But it is suggested as Tirtha has to be taken every day. How it is possible? Again, we spoke about Deepa, how to light the Deepa every day, and Tirtha Prashana also there is fixed. You don't have to do Abhisheka if you don't know or if you don't have any facilities. Just keep one cup of water in front of deity at your home. Do Namaskara and Puja and everything that is called as Manasa Puja. So all other rituals and the practice we do, all activities, that is just to have that image of God, our inner mind. So mentally we are doing Abhisheka, mentally we are doing Tirtha, because again the Murti is not God, the stone is not God. We have to have that imagination, avasana. We have to invoke that power in that Murti. That's all. We are doing Abhisheka in that super power. That's all. So that we can have that imagination. Just keeping one cup of water in front of the deity at our home, then we feel that is the Tirtha blessed by Swami. And we have to take every day. Again, today the day of mothers. So we have Mother Day. We have to, in our Sampradaya, every day is Mother Day. Still today's day. So I was looking for some mothers, especially today I found one sloka from Shandilya Smriti. So it is gives the sandesha to all mothers like this. Trisandhya karayet bhavam pranamam devapalayotu grihini pramukha sarva gayantyah purushottamam. So that is, so giving the sandesha, the message for all mothers, what the way, since in a childhood only we can learn about our religion, about our sampradaya. By just doing all activities, we may gain jnana and shraddha, and we may keep our tradition, our culture alive. So all mothers, that is the sandesha from Shandilya Smriti. Tisandhyaha karayen balan pranamam devapalayo. That is the puja for you. We have to come. We have to make our children just do Namaskara. If they are very small, 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, doesn't matter. Call them and make sure they have to do Namaskara to Lord every day. That is the main sandesha and the duty of our mothers. So, Gagini Pramukha Gayantyah Purushottamam. That is called as most auspicious dharma and yajna. If you make all your children just doing namaskara to the Lord, that is considered as yajna. So that is the sandesha for all mothers from Shandilya Smriti. So now let us have the meditation, dhyana of God. Today, let us have the image of Lord Narasimha, because in 2 days we are celebrating Narasimha Jayanti. Let us have the Narasimha Avatara today itself. So, how we have to do the dhyana of Narasimha? Now, today we are doing the dhyana in a different way. By just chanting the mantra of Narasimha. It is very simple. Let us have the dhyana. Dhyayendra Simham Buddhattaravitravetram Jamupasattakara Yudhavaha Tantra Grantha, Narasimha Grantha, they do the Varnana, they explain the Rupa of Narasimha like this. Guru Vrutta Lavit Trinetram, who is having 3 eyes, Trinetra. Jalu Takarayukam, he is sitting in Padmasana like this and with 4 hands. 2 hands are on his jhana, on his knee. And Lakshmee, she is there on his left side. And with other 2 hands, Chakram Dhanancha Dadhatam, Chakra and Shankha. With 2 hands, Chakra and Shankha, other 2 hands are resting on his knees, and Lakshmi is there on his left side. So, let us have the dhyana of Narasimha by chanting his mantra, Ksham Narasimhaya Namah. Ksham with Lakshmi, we can remember. Ksham is the Mula mantra of Narasimha. So, let us say that mantra and have the image of Narasimha in our mind. Follow. Ksham Lakshmi Narasimhaya Namaha. 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 Ksham Lakshmi
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Being a mother is not easy. You make the biggest investment of your life in your kids, hoping that there won't be any return, but at the same time hoping that they themselves will be able to give back to someday, to someone at a future day. Like August keeps saying, biggest investment with no return, but only happiness and welfare is what a mother is. Okay, we'll continue our discussion, but before we do that, Yogeendra mentioned about, as a mother, what you could do is inculcate or impart some kind of a discipline in your kids. Several years ago, I was in Tennessee, and whenever I go to the South, I like to listen to the radio a lot. The reason is, when you go to the South, there's a lot of faith-based radio stations. And it's quite interesting when you listen to them. But this is a true one, where they did a study where when kids were very young, several parents took the kids to different religious institutions, wherever they came from. If you're a Christian, they took them to a church. If you're a Jew, they took them to this, a temple, and all of that. They took the kids to different backgrounds. And the kids really struggled to understand why my mom, why my dad is doing this. But the parents did not worry too much about it, they just took the kids. What came out is, so they took the kids, and the kids went with the parents for some time, and as they grew up, the kids went on their own. They did not follow their parents in some cases, or in some other cases they did follow their parents. As they grew up, as the kids grew up, and when they faced difficulties and hardships in their lives, the first thing they did, even though there was a gap, when they really went back to the place of worship, but when they faced a hardship, the first thing that they remembered is, what did my mom do? What did my dad do? That is the first thing they remembered. So even after a long gap of not going to their place of worship, when that hardship came, they said, where should I go now? What did my mom and dad do? And they found out that the parents who took the effort to take their kids to their places of worship, those kids went back to the places of worship and found their peace there. That ties back to what we were talking last week, where what you impart to the kids when they are very young, when their intellect and their memory tanks are empty, quite empty, stays with them. Even though they may not use it on a day-to-day basis for a period of time, but that memory structure is imparted, it is set in stone there. That's the benefit of bringing kids or any of your loved ones as much as possible to places like this. You're really building a strong foundation for them. And in case you thought we both kind of discuss and connect with each other and connect these topics, you're mistaken, but by God's grace we always end up connecting each other. Okay, so we'll continue our discussion on that front, on thought and intellect and memory. And next we'll talk about emotions. Emotions is actually what makes us a human being. How many refer yourself as human beings? Do you all refer yourself as human beings? Think again, you're probably human doings. You're not being. You're actually doing every time, not being every time. But emotions is actually what actually makes you a human being. And unfortunately, our emotions, by not being channeled in the direction that it should be channeled, separates us from really being a human being into a human doing. What does a being mean? Being means you connect back to the divine in every single moment, every single instance. Just reflect back on your own self. How many times do you really do that? How many times when you talk to somebody, either there is envy, either there is some kind of a jealousy going on, either some kind of a hatred. Things happen in our day-to-day life, and that's normal. Don't think that you're a sinner because you're doing that. That's normal. That's what makes us a doing. When you are a true human being, you really try to lessen all of this. And when you can lessen that to the bare minimum, that's when you become as they call a jnani, which very few people are. But emotions is what makes us that. What is an emotion? It's really when a thought occurs in your mind and your intellect, the traffic cop, remember intellect is a traffic cop which helps you make a decision. And in that decision, based on what happens with that decision, there is a mechanical process and a non-mechanical process that happens in your body. In relationships, this is very critical. It's emotions that either make or break a relationship, particularly in